The evolution of art. Evolution of art is a branch of generative art in which the artist does not do the work of constructing the artwork, but rather lets a system do the construction. It was time when artists sought to reject traditional practice and values to create art for an age that was rapidly changing and becoming modern. So, many pictures sa evolution. Categories: Romanticism, Realism, Pre-Raphaelite, Impressionism. So, Upper Paleolithic Age of Man. During the Paleolithic period that man was a hunter, food gathered, the human being used to use simple, cheap, and sharp type stone tools for hunting and other purposes. So, mauni mga image sa Upper Paleolithic Age of Man. Categories: Chattel-Perronian, Aurignacian, Gravitinian, Upper Pythagorean, and Solotarian. Neolithic era. The Neolithic is the era with the farmer or of plants and animal begins, and with as result humans first began to create permanent settlement. So mao ni mga image sa Neolithic era. Categories: Domestication of animals, agriculture practice, modification of stone tools, and poetry making. Bronze Age. The Bronze Age is a time period with bronze replaced stone as the preferred materials for making tools and weapons. This led to improvements in agriculture and brought with it changes in the way people live. For example, Early Bronze Age, Middle Bronze Age, and Late Bronze Age. So, mao na yung mga image sa Bronze Age. Age of Idealism. Idealism, but there is a force in the argument that theism and both subjective and objective. Idealism may be classed together as opposed to materials. Pantheism may be regarded as more truly idealism view that theism, since pantheism is a view that nothing exists except God and his moods and attributes, so that the material world must be aspect of appearance of God. So mao ni image sa Age of Idealism. Categories of subjective idealism, which proposes that a materials object exists only to the extent that a human being perceives and the object, and objective idealism, which proposes the existence of an objective consciousness that exists prior to and independently of human consciousness. Those that existence of the object is independent of human perception. Middle Ages. In European history, traditional date from the fall of the Roman Empire to the dawn to Renaissance. In the 5th century, the Western human empire endured declines in population, economic vitality, and the size and prominence of cities. It also was created affected by a dramatic migration of people that began in 3rd century. Categories: Early Middle Ages, High Middle Ages, and Late Middle Ages, February 18, 2022. Muna ang image sa Middle Ages. Renaissance. Humanism. Humanism, potential human progress, expansion of human knowledge. Secularism. greater emphasis on non-religion values and concern individualism, focus on the unique qualities and abilities for the individual person. Humanism, individual skepticism, well, roundedness and secularism. Manit sila ang picture sa Renaissance. Baroque era. The Baroque music era was a period of music where major development laid the groundwork for the classical music of the next few centuries. Categories: prelude and fugue, cantata, the concerto and oratorio, the sonata, and even opera. New Classical Era. The revival of classical ideals within New Classical art was almost a period of reminding the world again via visual communication of the beauty and contractual so perfected by the ancients, whether they know it not, and only we can dream to attaining that in our own age and enlightenment. Categories: rationalism, scholarly allusions, morality, realism, adherence of classical rules. Romantic Age. During this time, literature began to move in channels that we are not entirely new but were a strong contrast to the standard literary practice of 18th century. Categories: interest, a common man and childhood, strong senses, emotion, and feelings, a way of nature, celebration of the individual, importance of imagination. Romantic Age. Example: the Enlightenment thinkers of condemned the Middle Ages of Dark Ages, a period of ignorance and irrationality. The Romantics, on the other hand, idealists and Middle Ages as a time of spiritual depth and adventure. The Romantic Age influenced all art forms in Europe, music, painting, etc., but poetry especially flourished during this time. Expressionism. The thing is, Impressionist artists were not trying to paint a reflection of real life, but an impression of what the person, light, atmosphere, object, or landscape looked like to them, and that's why they were called Impressionists. They tried to capture the movement and life and of what they saw and show it to us if it were happening before our eyes. Muna yung mga image sa Impressionism. Native American. There were many different objects created by Native American that can be appreciated for other artists, craftsmanship, and statistic beauty. Native art includes basket, beadwork, wellwork, ceramics, mix, and sculpture. Each one of these talk great skills and different from region to region. Categories ay mao na to siya ang picture. African in the Belt tribute art is a pictorial art and African culture attribute to the individual people and to other female artist tradition. House painting is a style of African art practiced by the certain individual people of South Africa. It is the predominantly practiced by individual women when painting homes. Categories: traditional, classical, modern, and contemporary. Isa ang mga image sa Japanese art. This ultimate guide will introduce the most inspiring aspect of Japanese art from the oldest surviving silk screen painting through magnificent 18th century woodblock prints to Japan's most famous modern artist Hayao Kusama. Categories: painting, calligraphy, architecture, poetry, sculpture, bronze age. European art evolution is the commission of the church architectural, painterly, and sculptural, providing the major source of work for artists. The history of the church was very much reflected in the history of art during this period. In the same period of time, there was renewed interest in heroes and heroines, tales of mythological gods and goddesses, creators and bizarre creatures were not connected to religion. Realism, different art movement, is recognized as the first modern movement in art which rejected traditional forms of art, literature, and social organization as outmoded in the wake of the Enlightenment and the Industrial Revolution. Realism versus style. Between realism and styles is that with realism you are restricted to making things look real while enhancing their visual language. With style you are free to play with the shape and color, exaggerate or remove details to enhance the look and feel in any direction. Contemporary age. It is designing the historical period from the French Revolution to the present. After the event, historians agreed to the need to add a new name to the traditional historical division between antiquity, Middle Ages, and modern age. Categories: work on paper, sculpture, photography, fiber arts. Ano siya ang contemporary arts?